Hey y'all, it's Bethany with the Wandering Purl podcast, and welcome to episode 38. I think we're 38. Yeah, episode 38. It has been a productive 2 weeks. I still didn't do as much as I would have liked to just because I was still getting over Rona and feeling crummy, but I finally feel like I'm at like 95%. So I'm getting there, guys. Getting there. So we are still in Utah and it has been unseasonably warm. All the snow we had is now gone. We are we are predicting snow a little bit tomorrow, so we'll see if that happens. But yeah, it's just not, yeah, it's just not happening here. I don't know what's up with that. But I am filming again on the couch tonight because Bryan worked night shift this weekend. So it was the only time that I had to film. And yeah, I don't prefer filming here. I would prefer to film when it's daylight and have the nice natural light. But this is what we're stuck with for today. I'm hoping that Tweets over there will be quiet, although he is very interested in why I am just talking to my phone like a crazy person. So we'll see how that goes. But I do have 2 finished objects to share with you today and 2 brand new cast-ons that I am really excited to show you and share with you all about them. And then I also have my stash update, podcaster spotlight, and just some life talk. So stick around and grab something to drink and some knitting or crocheting, and let's jump in. Before we jump into those finished objects, I wanted to tell you what I was wearing because I completely forgot to say that. So I am wearing the Whitemoor cardigan, and I really should have pulled that up when I was looking at it to figure out who it's by. So give me just a second. But I made this last spring, and I had so much fun making it. So this is the Whitemoor sweater by Amy Loden, and normally it has these big puffy sleeves on it, but I decided I wanted a summer or something I could wear during the summer if I wanted to, and not have those long sleeves. So I made it in a really affordable yarn, which was Barocco Vintage DK, and I absolutely love how it turned out. This yoke was so much fun to make. This pattern looks so complicated, but it's really simple and fun to make, and it is something that I really, really enjoyed. And I might make another one in the future, but with the long sleeves since I decided to shorten mine. First up is my socks that I finished. I finished these on the 23rd, so not long after the last podcast, but these are the cozy knitter socks that I was making alongside my friend Stephanie, and we decided to do the cozy knitter advent skein in January since we did the freckle whimsy in December, and it was really fun to be able to make these alongside Stephanie in January and kind of keep that daily knitting going on throughout like past advent time. So that was really fun. The advent skein is from the Cozy Knitter. As I said, this is the tag. She does this every year, and this year was a lot different than her previous years. I really, really love how this one turned out. It's like a fade, so that was really fun. And then also I used a contrast color in Nano Stitch Lab, which is here in Dinah Fossey. I think I'm saying that right. I might not be able. I don't know. Just that's what it looks like right there. Keep that in mind. So I finished these in 22 days because I started a day late, and then I also finished a day early. So I just kind of got them done, and I did a pattern for these socks, which is unusual. I normally am very vanilla girl when it comes to socks, unless I get a wild inkling to do a pattern. So I did Heel Toe Dosey Do by Kay Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady. I love this pattern. I've done it multiple times before. It is always so fun, and I love how it turned out with the striping. The only change that I make is I do the patterning on the front and the back of the leg. The pattern only calls for it on the front. So a note, if you do this, it's going to make it a little tighter. So these are more than likely going to be Felicity socks because it was really tight pre-blocking on my leg, uncomfortably tight. So I haven't tried them on since I blocked them, But just keep that in mind. If you're going to do the pattern on the front and the back of the leg like me, you might want to go up a size. Just keep that in mind. Let's see. I used a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle. Of course, I did magic loop, and I did them 2 at a time, but on separate needles. And I had to add an extra color at the bottom because it was a little short. So I just added one extra color that I thought went well. This was actually a mini that I got in the Scrappy Advent with my friend Laurie. This is the color that I ended up putting at the end. But yeah, that I don't think you can even tell because it blends pretty well. So let's go ahead and look at these socks. Look how pretty they are. I'm really, really pleased with how they turned out. I really love this pattern on them. I just think it looks so good. So here's an up close. You can see I did 1x1 ribbing for 20 rounds, and then I started right into the pattern. And like I said, I did it on the front and the back of the leg. And then I did a heel flap gusset. Yeah. Why am I not saying heel flap gusset? Is that the right way to say it? It doesn't seem right. Anyways, you can see I did that. I just did the slip stitch heel, and then I switched to just vanilla on the bottom of the foot. This is that extra color that I added in, and then finished off with my favorite toe. So I really love these. I think they turned out really pretty, and they've been sitting up there hanging from the cabinets with my yarn are in, and tweet every time he is out of his cage, he wants to get them. So now he won't have to get them, but I'm really happy with how these turned out. The amount of yarn that I used for these socks, the total grams, so I used every bit of the Cozy Knitter yarn plus the extra little orange that I put in there. So with all of the yarn together, it was 83 grams. And then, okay, I was going to say 83.88, but then I stopped myself halfway through. So then I just sounded like I was crazy. So sorry. It was 83.88 grams of yarn, which equaled 335.52 yards. And for the pigskin party, which we only have one more podcast with pigskin party info, I got 24 points for that. So these were the first finished object. I was really excited to finish them and get them off the needles and be able to make them with Stephanie because that was really fun too. Look what I finished. The Star Wars sweater is finished. I am so excited. So this is the Star Wars sweater by Natalie Meredith, and it took me an age and a day to make it, but it is now finished. It fits my husband. I am so relieved to have this finished. It is just amazing. My daughter just started vacuuming, so we'll see if you can hear that. But here is the back side. The front is definitely better than the back. So this is the front, and I feel like I just did so much better on the front than I did on the back. Back was what you did first, so that's probably why. And if I'm being 100% honest, it is not 100% finished because I need to add the lightsaber colors. But I was going to do it earlier, but then I had no motivation to do it. And I need to pick out the colors. So I need to get a red and a blue. And I don't think I have any DK of that. So I'm probably just going to have to double some fingering weight and do it that way. But I just have to do that, and then it's completely done. But here is the sleeve, which I love. And yeah, okay, so the front, you can see the color work on the bottom in the black looks pretty good, right? You can tell which color is supposed to be popping. So on the back though, you can see it's not as good. So I was figuring my life out still then, but I think that's on the back. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I'm definitely not ripping it out and doing it again, but yeah, that's the only thing that kind of really irritates me is that the back is not as good. But I mean, Vader is good, and these TIE fighters at the top are really good. And yeah, I just kind of really, really love it. I'm glad. I mostly love that it's finished and that it fits, because I was really, really worried that it wasn't going to fit and then I was going to cry. Literally, I was probably going to cry if it didn't fit. But it is finished. Another thing that I am not 100% thrilled with is the join. So this is kind of pieced together. And I use the crochet hook method, or the crochet method of hooking of putting it together. You can see right here where I did all the crocheting there, but there wasn't an equal amount of stitches for each side. So the arm sleeve, like of the body, was a lot bigger than the sleeve, the stitches you had on the sleeve. So I was kind of having to manipulate it to make it work, and you can kind of tell it's kind of sloppy looking right there. You can't really tell in the black as much, but in the gray you can tell, and that's just kind of frustrating that it did that. It kind of puckers a little bit right there. So I'm not thrilled with that, but I'm okay with it because, yeah, I'm okay with it. But let's go over some information for you guys. So like I said, this is a Star Wars sweater by Natalie Meredith. I made the size 56 for my husband. I did not use the recommended needle sizes because my gauge would have been way, way off. So I used a US 3, 3.25 millimeter, and a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter. I used Heritage or Cascade Heritage 6 in two colors. One is, this was the gray that I used, which is 5672, and then the black is 50. No, those are both the same one. I must have just grabbed two of the same one. Maybe this is the black. Not sure. It's listed in my Ravelry page, but it is real black, and then also silver gray is what the colors were that I used. And last time I was trying to figure out if I was going to have to order more, which I was pretty sure I was going to, of the black, and I did. I did wait until I ran out of black yarn because I wanted to make sure I didn't get too much yarn or too little and then have to order more. So I ended up having to order 2 more skeins of black yarn. And I'm so glad that I went with 2 skeins, because I was kind of like, do I need 1? Do I need 2? But I ended up using only 10 grams of the second skein of black, but I would have needed it. Like, I wouldn't have been able to finish the sweater without that. So I am so, so thankful that I got 2 skeins. So this is all I have left of the black right here. This one I have, how much? I have like 90 grams left. So I used it, but I still have a lot left. And then this is the gray that I have left, plus a whole nother skein that is skeined up and not caked. I bought way too much silver when the pattern didn't specify, or at least I didn't see where it specified what it needed yarn wise, so I just kind of guesstimate it, and I was way off. So if I had actually bought the amount of yarn first that I purchased with the right colors, I would have been fine and not had to buy any more, if that makes sense. But let's tell you how much I actually used. And first, let me explain this. The sleeves, I did not do exactly as the pattern suggested. I ended up doing the right amount of increases, but I did them at a different point. So it tells you to do all the increases at first. You cast on the sleeve at the bottom and do the cuff, and then you start your increases. And I was doing that, and the sleeve was quite big. And I'm like, I don't want this sleeve to be ginormous, and I don't want it's going to take up more yarn if I do all the increases and then do like these 60 rows of stockinette. So I did 3 increase segments that are in the pattern, and then I did the stockinette stitches, and then I did the rest of the decreases. So I think that saved me quite a bit of yarn also. And then other than that, everything was basically what the pattern said to do. So the black yarn that I used was 604 grams, and the silver gray that I used was 95 grams. So I didn't even use a whole skein of the gray for the top part, which is pretty cool. Let's see, what else did I say? So total grams, I guess we'll do that next. Total grams that I did for the whole sweater was 699.83, so almost 700 grams. And then the yards was 2,043 and a half yards, which is pretty cool. I was glad to do that. And then I got a great big heap of points for the pigskin party, which was my major goal, to finish it before then. And I got 643 points, which put me in the top 100, which I was pretty excited about for that. I had another one that I was wanting to make for me. It was the Rebel Alliance sweater, by the same pattern designer. After making this one, I don't think that I'm going to make that one for me. It was just, I feel like this pattern could have been written so much better and done so much seamlessly and just not have been as complicated as it was. And I really am not itching to make another version, like another type of that type of sweater, like in that construct. So there's some other sweaters that are more like top down instead of bottom up. I am definitely a top down sweater girl and not a bottom up. I've done both and I really, really like the top down. So probably not going to be making that one. I mean, maybe in the future, but not anytime soon. And I think that's all I had to say about it. Yeah, I am really glad that it is finished. Bryan really likes it. My daughter's really jealous. And so is my son. So, more Star Wars makes color work in the future, but just not this pattern. I do have 2 new works in progress to share with you, and I'm really excited to share all these details with you. The first I cast on just a couple of days ago, and it is the Jervis Gloves for Bryan. I made these for myself back in, I don't know, November or October. Let me see. When did I make these? Come back. There they are. I made these in November. So I made these for myself. If you remember the story, if you were here, I had wanted to make these for Bryan because he has fingerless gloves that I have made him, and when he's going to work early in the morning, it's cold, and I was like, these would be great, and they looked really cool, so I was like, I want to make these for you, and he's like, no, I really don't want those, like, I like my fingerless ones, I don't want the finger ones, and I was like, okay, so I ended up making a pair for myself, and when I was making them, I was like, he's gonna want a pair of these after I'm finished with mine. Sure enough, as soon as I was done with them, he was like, yeah, I would like some of those. Like, duh, I knew you would. That's why I wanted to make them for you. So I am making him a pair. I am doing the medium size. I started off actually with the largest size, but then it was like really, really big around his wrist. So I frogged it and restarted it with the medium size stitches, and I'm hoping that it's gonna fit okay and not be too tight, so we'll see. This is a pattern by Alexandra Brink. I'm using a US 1 2.25 millimeter and a 1.5 or US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter, excuse me. So I'm just gonna kind of have to go and guess with how much, like, the measurements for it, because he has pretty big hands, and I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have to keep trying it on him and figuring out exactly what to do, especially with this first glove. And I have to say, this is a project of love because it is a lot. It is a lot of 1x1 twisted rib on size 1s. It's supposed to be size 0, but I was like, no, I'm gonna do size 1 for you. And it's a lot. It takes me a very long time to do this, and it's not my favorite. So let me tell you the yarn real fast, and then I will show you what I have so far. So this is Diabolical yarn in the colorway Fred, and my sweet friend Anne gifted this to me about a year ago, and I knew Bryan would love this color because it is mostly red, and his favorite color is red and black, and this is red and brown, so that's very close. And I showed him this in the skein, and I was like, would this work? And he was like, yeah, I love that. So That is what it is. This is what I have so far. So yeah, it is so much twisted rib, y'all. So much. So you can see on here, I am really hoping, yeah, it should be fine. Like that's on my wrist. He'll be good. So what you do is you are going to knit, you knit 1/2 on the ones or the zeros that you're supposed to do, and then you knit another half on the US 1.5s, and then I am going to flip these together. I'm not explaining this very well, but it's like it's a folded brim basically, or folded cuff. So then it's going to be like this. I'll attach these and then finish the rest of the gloves. I really, really love mine. They're really cozy, really warm, and I'm almost to the point of where I am going to join the cuff together and continue on with the hand. Almost there. Maybe tonight. We'll see. But this little stitch marker right here is by Simply Serving, and it is from my friend Stephanie. She got, it's a little birdie with socks. Isn't it cute? So I love that. I am actually filming a like a week of making vlog right now, which will come out next week, so look out for that. And this is where I started last night, so that's my little marker to show how much progress I made. So I did all of that last night, and this is the halfway point, so I am almost there. But I'm just working on these. It took me 2 weeks to make my pair, so I'm expecting it to probably take that long to make this as well. And then Grayson has requested a pair as well, so then I will probably work on his after that. So that is the first work in progress. It is in my Mountain State Stitches bag that I have here. Let me see if I can show you her tag. She hasn't, I should think she just had an update, but she's supposed to be having some more soon, and I hope to grab one. So that's the first work in progress. My second work in progress, I am so excited about, and I am loving it. I am more than halfway done with it and actually hoping to finish it within the week. So I talked about this last time and hoping to cast it on, and it is the Granny Wrap, and it is by Anna Boo's House, and it is a free pattern. I'll have it linked down below for you guys. But Allie of This Little Wonderful Life and Little Drops of Wonderful podcast made this with her A Homespun House Advent, and she's made a scrappy one, and I saw those and I just fell in love with it, and I am so happy that I have chosen to make my Blush Yarns Advent into this because it's been so much fun and is so pretty. So I've gotten pretty far on it, but let's go over some of the information other than who it's by. I am using a D hook, which is a 3.25 millimeter. I'm using the Blush Yarns Advent that I got last December in 2023. And I started this on January 20th, which is the day the last podcast came out. And it's so funny because I decided that I wanted to make it, and then Stephanie decided she also wanted to make it because she had seen Allie's also. We both love her vlogs, and we both have always been watching them, and she's like, that's all I've been thinking about since I saw hers, is that I want to make one. So she's making one, but she is making one with like full skeins instead of minis. They're so pretty. She's doing this beautiful fade. It's gorgeous. Like hers and mine are completely different, but they are both so fun. I love it. But yeah, you ready to see it? Let me tell you what bag. This is the bag I'm housing it in. It's a brand new bag, so I'm going to talk about it in acquisitions in a minute, but I am loving it, although it's about to outgrow this bag just a little bit. So, ready? Ugh. Pull it out. I am really, really loving this. This is the hook that I'm using. It is a Clover Amour, and I have enjoyed it. I've never really had a hook like that. I think I talked about that in the last podcast, but I'm enjoying it so far. So, here we go. This is what I have. So this is the Blush Yarns Advent, starting with day 1 here and then working all the way down. Let me see what day I am on. I am on day 18. So I am well over halfway. but I am just loving it so, so much. I remembered that I am a tight knitter or a tight crocheter, so I probably should have gone up a couple of hook sizes instead of doing the one that everyone else was doing, but I didn't do that. So I think it's probably going to be a little smaller than other people's, but I'm okay with that. I'm probably going to keep this in the truck just to cozy up with when we are driving, but I just really, really love this. Oh, didn't Natalie do such a beautiful job with all of her colors? So I am trying to use as much yarn as possible. And there's only like 3 skeins that have a little over a gram that is not being used, which I think is really great. Some of them I am only able to do to the middle, right here, and then I have to switch to a different color, but it fades so well that you can't even tell that that's what I'm doing. Oh, and the yarn smells really good too. But yeah, I love this so much. However, my hand is not loving it very much. So I crocheted a ton back in the day. I've mentioned that before, but I just pulled out a stitch. And I would hear my right wrist pop a lot, and I was expecting that this time, but I really haven't heard it pop any. I've just had this awful aching in my thumb and in my wrist. Like it kept me up one night because it was aching so bad and I had to get up and like take some Advil for it. I had also done like over 20 grams of crocheting that day. No, over 40 grams of crocheting that day. So I'd done 2 minis. And I realized that was probably a little too much and I shouldn't do that. But yeah, it was pretty painful. So I decided to try some wrist support. So I got this one off of Amazon, and it goes like, I think it's actually for arthritis, but you like put it on here and wrap it all around. And I was using that for a couple of days, and it was kind of restricting how I could move my wrist, which obviously that's kind of what you're trying to do, but it was a little more restricting than I would have liked. So then yesterday I got this one from Walmart, and it is more just like a soft kind of hugs your wrist type thing. And I used it last night and I liked it, and I didn't have any real pain. So I'm gonna keep trying with this one to just see if that is enough to like kind of cure that ache, or if I'm gonna have to use the actual brace. I don't know. We'll see. By the time I figure it out, I'll probably be done with this shawl, but that's okay. I'll know for the next time. But I'm really loving it. I just wish that my wrists weren't old and decrepit, because that's what it feels like. I do have a goal of when I want to finish this. So I want to finish this by Super Bowl Sunday, which is this upcoming Sunday, because I want it for the pigskin party. This is going to be a lot of yards, and I want to finish big with a big bang. So that is my goal. I'm on number 18 right now. There are 25 minis, and if I do like 1.5 a day, I will have time left over to finish it. So that's my goal, is to finish by next Sunday and get those points. And I'm doing a vlog this week, like I mentioned earlier, of making in a week. So that's really helping me keep motivated and get it done. So look out for that next week, and you'll be able to see if I get it finished in time or not. But yeah, it's been such a joy. I didn't know if I was going to enjoy crocheting it, and I have. It's been different, but it's been nice. It's very therapeutic, just doing the granny stripe. And yeah, it's really fun. I always have loved a granny. My grandmother, my mom's mom, she was a crocheter and she did granny squares and doilies and all types of things. So it always reminds me of her a little bit. And she taught me to do the chain. That was the only thing I could do when I was little. So I would just make these really, really long chains. But then I learned when after she had passed away, but I know that she would be really excited that I was doing the same craft that she is. So next time I see you, I should have this like behind me or something, which would be really cool. I have a couple of acquisitions and thank yous that I wanted to go over really quick. So I already showed you the acquisition of the black yarn that I got from Cascade Heritage 6. I had to get that for the Star Wars sweater, so that is an acquisition that has come in and gone out already, so that's good. And then my sweet friend Susie, she sent me a bag. She makes bags, and she was like, I want to send you a bag. I'll show you some pictures and you can pick. And I picked a couple and was like, make her decide. Do you decide which one to send me? I was like, I'll love either one, and I'm so loving the bag that she sent. She also sent me some yarn that I need to grab in a second, but first let's show you the bag. So this is the bag that she sent, and I am assuming Huckleberry Girl Handmade is her bag making name, but Susie is from Washington. We lived just 10-15 minutes from each other there, and we're able to get together and meet and hang out, and I love this bag so much. It is very deep. It's been housing, the minute I got it, I put my granny wrap in it because I was loving it so much, and I haven't had a new bag in a long time, so it was really nice to get this and to have her make it and send it to me. It was just so sweet. So I really love this, Susie. So thank you very much. And I will have her Instagram down below in case you would like to get some of her bags. I know I will be looking at for some more in the future because it's very well made and super cute. Susie was also super sweet and sent me some yarn in the package. She remembered that purple was my favorite color. I actually haven't opened it. And she sent me these already pre-caked and ready for making socks. So I am super excited. I am going to cast on some socks with these soon. And it was just so sweet. So thank you very much, Susie. I love these two colors together. They're going to be beautiful, and my bag is just amazing. Another thank you is to Julie. I had mentioned last time when I was talking about making my granny wrap that I showed you some other patterns that I was considering. And the moving forward wrap was one of those, and it was actually a picture of Julie, who is a friend of mine from the Love and Stitches memberships project. I fell in love with it when I saw her post it last December, and she actually gifted me the pattern. So I wanted to say thank you, Julie. I'm definitely going to be making that in the future. It's such a beautiful wrap. You did an amazing job on it, and that's the reason that I want to make it. So thank you so much for that kind gift, and I'm definitely going to put it to use. It is the first yarn stash update of 2024, and I am really excited to jump in because I had a really great month. So I'm excited to jump through these numbers and just chat about what I made and what did I make my goals of what I had in January and all that sort of stuff. So let's jump right in. Projects that I finished. I finished 5 projects in the month of January. These projects did not need to be started in January. It's only the ones that were finished. So I'm going to go through them real fast. I have them all over here on my computer. I finished the hot water bottle cover, the Cozy Knitter Advent socks that you saw earlier, the knee-high socks that I showed in the last podcast, my cozy comfort throw that I finished in the last podcast as well, and then also the Star Wars sweater, which was all finished in January. So those are the 5 big projects that I finished. I was really excited to get those done because my goal for January was to finish all the projects on my needles, and I did that plus some. I cast on the knee highs and knit those, and also the cozy knitter socks were cast on in January as well. So I got all 3 projects that were on my needles finished, plus 2 additional projects, which I'm really happy about. And then I started another big project, which is my granny wrap, but that won't be finished till this month, so we'll talk about that in the first episode of March. But I was pleased with that. 5 is a great number to finish, especially since 2 of them were pretty big. It did give me some pretty big numbers for grams used and yards used. So all of the grams used in January for finished projects was 1,904 grams, which is a lot of grams. I was really happy with that, which equaled a total of 7,080 yards. I love that. And I estimate it with the Cozy Comfort throw. I do like 400 or 100 grams, 400 yards. I know some of them have a little more, some of them might have a little less. That kind of is my equalizer that I use for all of the scraps that I had. So it is an estimate number, but I think it's pretty close. So I'm happy with that. And then points added for the pigskin party in the month of January was 1,498, which gave me a total at the end of January for the pigskin party of 2,517 points. And I am hoping to add quite a few more points before Super Bowl Sunday. So fingers crossed that I can get those done. I did add 3, well, hold on. That's not correct. The yarn purchase. That's where I'm going. So with yarn purchase, I did purchase 5 skeins of yarn in January. There was 3 bear skeins from Knit Picks, and then the 2 Cascade Heritage 6 skeins that I needed for the Star Wars sweater. I ended up using 3 skeins from those. Those were actually from the ones that I purchased. I used one of the bear and then 2 of the black skeins for the Star Wars sweater. I also took out the Cozy Knitter Advent skein from this month, but that's only a 50-gram skein, so I didn't count that one since it wasn't 100 grams. So that brought my total of skeins in my stash to 43, which is a plus 2 skeins, which is the 2 bear skeins, which I know are going to be used at some point, and I'm glad to have those on hand just in case I need them anyways. So I was really, really happy with all of those numbers, how it worked out. I got a lot of knitting done this month. Even though I was sick for a lot of the month, I was able to kind of just chill at home and knit and crochet, which was really, really nice. February goals. So I do have a few February goals that I would like to get done, and I've already kind of talked about a few of them, but the first one is obviously to finish the granny wrap. I want to finish that this week, and I'm on schedule to do so. God willing, nothing crazy happens, I can get that done. So that would be the number one thing. The other thing that I really would like to finish is Bryan's gloves, and then the gloves that I need to make for Grayson. His hands are a little smaller, so I'm hoping those will go a little quicker. And then I also want to start my next sweater project. I haven't decided which one I'm going to cast on first, but I do have a few options of one I want to cast on. One is the Fairweather sweater. I have the yarn for it. I've swatched for it. I just need to start it and make it. It's a beautiful sweater. My desire to make it has kind of faulted off a little bit. Faulted off. That's not a saying at all. It's kind of dropped off a little bit. But I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, I still really like it. So I need to decide if that's what I want to make for sure. And do it if I need to. So we'll see. It might be that one. Another one is another bubble cardigan. I am dying to make another bubble cardigan and get in my stash, pick out yarn. A lot of blush yarns is probably what it's going to be, and then cast that on. So that is definitely a possibility. And then another one that I have found is, oh crap, that's not what it's called. Let me see what it's actually called. I have it here as Rex, but that's not what it's called. Oh wait, I think it's in... Here it is. It's Clone Trooper sweater, and it is by Natalie Milas, and I would really like to make this for Felicity. Her favorite clone is Rex, so the blue version would be the one that I would make for her. And I have some yarn that I think I could use for it. But I'm not 100% sure. I might just go and get all new yarn for it. I don't know. But that is also a possibility. So those are like the three possibilities of what I might make. Anyways, I want to start the sweater is the goal and decide on it. So that's my February goal. And I'm just going to throw in my podcast spotlight, and this time I have picked Allie of This Little Wonderful Life and Little Drops of Wonderful. She doesn't need any like promotion or anything. She is amazing. She's been doing this for a really long time and has like 10,000 subscribers, but you might not know her, and I absolutely love Allie. Her and her husband and her two daughters live in Kent, which is in the south of England. They live like ordinary lives, but it's just so interesting to watch. She is a crocheter and a knitter. She has a podcast that she does every month, and then she does vlogs and all sorts of things. They have chickens, and it's just real. She's just amazing. I have followed her on Instagram for probably like almost 12 years, and like 3 years ago I found that she had a YouTube channel, and I just went head over heels for it, and I love it. I watch all of her videos. She is probably my number one favorite podcaster. I just love following them. I think they're so fun, and they're just a sweet family. And they're just so generous and kind, and I love everything to do with the culture in England. So I think that's probably another reason why I just love following them so much, because it's just so intriguing to watch. But if you haven't checked her out, go over and check her out. I'll have them link both of her channels linked down below. Her Little Drops of Wonderful is her crochet and knitting podcast channel, and then This Little Wonderful Life is more of a vloggy family channel. But they're both worth a subscribe and a watch, and I know you'll enjoy her. Life has been pretty good the last couple of weeks. We were still feeling pretty crummy for the first week and a half of it, from having COVID and just trying to get over that, and the exhaustion was real. But the last few days I've definitely felt more like myself and more of my energy coming back. I'm still not quite at 100%, but hopefully I will be soon. Bryan is tired, but he's always tired. So we haven't done a whole lot of like out and about, because honestly, we didn't want to go anywhere. We didn't want to do anything. So I did actually a lot of cooking, which is not something that I am a huge fan of. I'm not someone who loves to cook, but I told Bryan, like, you should be so proud of me. I've cooked so much in the last week and 2 weeks. So I'll call that a win. It is saving money, I suppose. We have had warmer weather, like I was speaking of earlier. I mean, we've had days in the 40s, nights in the 40s. I don't know what to say. Like, this is northern Utah. We're supposed to be like -20 at night and cold and snowy. And we had snow, and then it all melted. And now we might be getting some more snow. I don't know. We've had rain. It's just a muddy mess outside. It's just not been that fun. I want the snow to where like you're snowed in almost, like, but I don't think we're gonna get that because we only have like 6 more weeks here, and I just don't see that happening. But you never know. We might. I am so excited for football. I watched so much football last weekend, and my Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. I am so excited. I really did not expect them to be in the Super Bowl this year, because they weren't playing like they were Super Bowl worthy earlier in the season. It was kind of a rough season in the middle there. But once playoffs hit, they did amazing and are playing really, really well. So go Chiefs. I am not at all wanting San Francisco to win at all. I don't like them anyways. So I'm really excited for that on Sunday. Bryan's off, so we're gonna get to watch that. Well, no, the pizza place is closed. I don't know what we'll do for dinner, but we won't be going anywhere. So we'll see. I'm excited. And you know, the Travis Taylor love affair is still going on, and I am loving every second of it. A couple days ago, Grayson, my youngest, or our youngest, turned 12. It's our last year without 3 teenagers. So send help because we're going to need it with 3 teenagers. How I don't understand how I'm old enough to do that, but here we are. So he wanted he got birthday money, so we went first to Chick-fil-A because that was his request for lunch. So we went there and had Chick-fil-A. Then we went to Bricks and Minifigs, which is a Lego secondhand store, and he bought some stuff there, and we had fun looking at all the different Legos. And then we went to the mall, which obviously had the Lego store, so we went there, and a couple other places, and then we went to Dave and Buster's, and it was my first time, Grayson's first time, and Felicity's first time. Bryan and Kai went last year when we went to the Stranger Things experience. So yeah, it was really good. It's like an adult Chuck E. Cheese. So yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. We played lots of games, did all that. And then we rounded off the night with dinner at the Spaghetti Factory, which was also the birthday boy's choice. And yeah, it was just a really good day. I think he had a good time, and we just got to celebrate him and enjoy all things Legos and spaghetti. So that was really fun. Those are both mostly the things that have been happening in the last couple of weeks. We have been watching some TV, so I'll go over that. Other than like the main things that I am always watching and talking about, we finished Percy Jackson, which was really, really good. Felicity is a huge fan of the books. With Percy being dyslexic and ADHD, and Felicity is also dyslexic, so it really, she really kind of likes that is in the books and kind of show spotlighted and things like that. So we really enjoyed it. She thought it was great, and we're hoping and looking forward to a season 2. It was just, yeah, it was good. We also watched the making of, which was really fun, and just enjoyed that. I finished the Clone Wars, which was amazing. I can't believe that it took me so long to watch them. So if you don't know, Clone Wars is a animated series of Star Wars between episodes 2 and episode 3. And if you are a Star Wars fan, wait, is that right? Yes, that's right. If you are a Star Wars fan, I would highly recommend watching these. The first few seasons are a little kind of crazy and not very storyline based, but once you get to like season 5 on to 7, it is amazing. Dave Filoni owes me some therapy now because the ending of that was just heart-wrenching. But it was really good, and I really, really enjoyed it, especially season 6 and season 7. And then I started The Bad Batch, which is also another Star Wars animated show. It is based on some clones that are done or right after Order 66 takes place. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're probably just like, what is she talking about? But it is really, really good. I am almost finished with season 1, and there are 2 seasons with the 3rd season and final season coming out later this month. So Felicity told me I had to be caught up in order to watch it with her. So that is my goal, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get to that as well. But I have enjoyed it. If you're a Star Wars fan, I would highly recommend watching those. They are worth it. They give you so much like information, and it's just really good. It's amazing. Dave Filoni has done an amazing job on those. And then another thing that Bryan and I watched is on Amazon, or it was on Freebie on Amazon. It was called Is Genesis History? And we started it, and we were kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be any good, or we'll try it, but it was really, really good. It talks about kind of a biblical look to how old the earth is, and how creationists are different than like modern day scientists, and it gives you a lot of really good biblical and scientific fact to back up the flood happening across the whole world. It was just really, really interesting. So it was really nice to have a creationist view and a biblical view um, of science and of all of that. You don't really get that a lot when you're someone who believes the Bible as history. You get a lot more of the mainstream, like millions of year old Earth instead of like 6,000 year old. So it was really, really good to watch and very interesting. Both Bryan and I really enjoyed it, and we're kind of like, well, that does make sense with what they were saying. I talk a lot about the Grand Canyon and things like that. So if you're interested in that type of like finding out history and if the Bible is real and things like that, that was a really good watch. Again, it's called Is Genesis History? And then there was another one. There's kind of like a series in that, and we watched that one talking about how the mountains came to be and things like that, which was also very interesting, and just makes you think, and kind of, yeah, it just makes you think, and it's really interesting. So we really enjoyed that, and I would encourage you to watch it if that's something you're interested in as well. So Mr. Tweet Tweet over there is starting to get very loud, and my voice is starting to go. So I'm going to wrap up here, but I hope you guys have a wonderful beginning to your February, a wonderful Valentine's Day, since that will be before the next podcast. And I hope you get all the knitting and crocheting time and making time that you want. And we will see you next time. Bye. I don't know. The little Corky is sleeping over there, and his little tail was, his little butt was just open. He was dreaming. It was so cute. It's adorable. Creationist view and not from. Hey. Yeah, you pooped. Good job. It was really nice to. Bird. Shush. Yeah, I'm almost done.